Good morning, sir. Good morning, classmates. We are the reporter for today. But before we start, I'm Joanna Camille Tukaki. Um, our topic for today is multiple disabilities. So, what is multiple disabilities? But before we proceed in the definition, we will know first the objectives. So, at the end of this lesson, to be able to define the meaning of multiple disabilities, to understand the causes, preventions, and challenges, to understand and the characteristic of multiple disabilities, and to learn different types of teaching. So, what is the definition of multiple disabilities? Individuals with various disabilities have mix of at least two or more serious disabilities, which combines areas such as intellectual development, sensory, that is what qualifies as a multiple disability category. So you have two different categories, then cause individual sets of concern, and you have to prioritize the disability concerns. Whereas with a learning disability, you can have struggles in the area of reading, writing, and written language. But if you really think about that's what that means, it's actually all still in the same area because those processes are tied to one another, where these are separate conditions. Like if they didn't have one, they would qualify under the other. And so then we put them when you have to put them together, and they have technically have this dual conditions that are fighting with each other. When you have this multiple disability category, you can't address all of their needs under just one category area. That's why they have the two of them. Dual sensory impairment or deaf blindness is defined as a separate disability group. Because deaf blindness, those are two separate categories, but those two separate categories have their own category. So, in 1996, Fred and Orlov and Dick Subsay, they characterize this group of people with mental impediment who requires broad or pervasive support, and who likewise have at least one more significant motor or sensory impairment, and additionally exceptional medical care needs. Here is the physical and medical problems result in the presence of two or more of the following characteristics: restriction of movements, skeletal deformities, sensory disorder, seizure disorder, lungs and breathing control, or other medical problems related to these characteristics such as a skin breakdown or bladder infection. These are the physical and medical problems resolved under Fred Orlov and Dick Subsay. So, what is the causes of multiple disabilities? And almost 50% of the youngster brought into the world with multiple disabilities, there is no recognizable cause. In the remainder of the known reason, there are chromosomal abnormalities, developmental disorder of the brain, heredity, metabolic disorder, negative prenatal environmental influence. There are so many causes of the particular disability category, including genetics, premature birth, spinal cord infection, just incident, just injuries from incidents, and so on. And most of the time, it really focuses on the genetic or something that happened of birth or immediately after birth that causes all of these difficulties. Remember, disease can do this as well as so disease can do this as well so because when you get like meningitis or any of those things that can do stunt growth cause the body to not function correctly, and of course the inhibit brain development, then you're gonna have multiple issue in the long run. Next is the preventions. Preg- um, Pregnancy. When you are pregnant, you should always visit the doctors. During in your pregnancy, you should go to you have a prenatal health care and avoid smoking or avoid secondhand smoke and avoid drinking alcohol so as not um, para hindi lumala yung or nakaka-apekto ito sa it can affect to your body. And always take recommended vitamins and always meet the nutritional needs. Characteristics. Individuals with multiple disabilities have blend of various disabilities that might incorporate speech, limited speech, and communication, physical mobility, difficulty in basic physical activities. The child may have difficulties in learning. Mental retardation. People with mental retardation can and do learn new skills, but they learn more slowly. Visual and hearing, along with controlling her or his movement and with hearing and vision. It includes headache, dizziness, memory problems, disorientation, nausea, and vomiting. That is a brain injury.
Early interventions. Early interventions program is habang maaga pa lang, alamin na natin yung mga needs ng mga bata. Lalong-lalo na sa mga anak nating may disability. Next is preschool programs. Preschool programs is for children 3 to 5 years old. Yung parang daycare ganon na school. Habang maaga, habang nasa edad pa lang silang 3 to 5 years old is kailangan na natin silang ipasok sa mga ganitong programs para habang bata pa lang sila, alam na nila kung paano makipag-social, makipag-communicate sa mga ibang kagaya nilang bata. Next is parents extended family. And fourth is organized preschool programs. Ito yung preschool programs na organized. Parang kompleto lahat sa gamit. lalong-lalo na sa mga gamit na kakailanganin para sa mga batang may disability. Next is challenges, family and social life. Families challenges also to children who have a disability. Kasi yung ibang parents is parang kinakaya nila yung anak nila dahil may kapansanan. Yung iba galit sa mga anak nilang may kapansanan. Kasi sila lang yung ganon, parang umbaga ganon. Parang sila lang yung may ganong la ganong sakit sa line ng kanilang family. Kaya kinakaya nila, ayaw nilang palabasin. And social life. Dahil sa kinakaya ng family nung bata na may disability is hindi siya natututong makipag-social life kasi kinukulong na lang yung bata, 'di ba? Parang takot na siyang parang takot siya pag may nakikitang tao kasi sa family pa lang niya parang galit na sila sa kanya. Eh siyempre iisipin nung batang may disability na lahat ng tao magagalit na sa kanya, 'di ba? Next challenges is communication. Communication, yung lalong-lalo na pag yung bata na may disability is bingi or hindi nakakapagsalita. Hindi nila kayang i-express or sabihin yung talagang gusto nilang sabihin sa kausap nila na normal. Lalong-lalo na kahit yung hindi nakakapagsalita na bata is marunong mag-hand gesture. Kamusta naman yung kausap niya na hindi marunong umintindi ng hand gesture? Kaya nagiging challenges din yung communication. Next challenges is learning. Parang yung ibang bata na may disabilities, natatakot na silang pumasok or makipag-interact sa mga kagaya nilang bata sa school. Kasi nakakaranas sila ng bullying. Kaya nagiging challenges yung learning. And fourth is independent living. Independent living is alam naman nating mahirap mabuhay mag-isa, lalong-lalo na kung may disability ka. Mas mahirap sa kanila yon. Kasi pag may disability ka, limited lang yung mga nagagawa mo. Hindi ka kayang gawin. Ganon. Hindi ka pwedeng magtrabaho para sana magkaroon ng pera para mabuhay sa iyong pang-araw-araw, kumbaga ganon. Independent living is challenges talaga sa mga may disability kaya kailangan nila ng tao na susuport or tao na babantay sa kanila lagi. Fifth is future. And next is alternative method of communication. Number one is expressive communication. Dito yung expressive communication is dapat marunong tayo ng non-verbal communication or verbal communication. Gamitin natin yung dalawang yon, lalong-lalo na yung non-verbal communication. Kung ang kausap natin is bingi or yon, bingi. Siyempre hindi nila tayo naririnig. Kaya gagamit tayo ng symbol or sign language or hand gesture para mas maintindihan nila tayo. Sa verbal communication naman, kung yung kapansanan lang is parang hindi nakakalakad or hindi nakakasalita pero nakakarinig, pwedeng gamitin natin yung verbal communication kasi naiintindihan naman nila tayo. Receptive communication, 3 is pre-symbolic or non-symbolic communication. Pre-symbolic or non-symbolic communication refers to communication does not use symbol or words or signs. Sa symbolic communication naman is dito na tayo gagamit ng mga symbol system, sign language, or pwede tayong gumamit ng communication boards or books. Ganun yung sa symbolic communication. Sa augmentative and alternative communication naman is yung parang written language. Parang yung sasabihin natin is isusulat na lang para maintindihan nung bata na may disability, lalong-lalo na yung bingi, di ba? Yun nga, yung sign language, symbol system, communication boards, or books. Next is teaching tips. Teaching tips is number 1, plainly determine and reliably apply classroom rules and assumption. 2. Construct abilities and practical living. 3. Utilize educational strategies. 4. Help from paraprofessional if multisensory. 6. Strategies. 7. Apply change to example. Next is tips for parents. Patience. Number 1 is patience. Kailangan nating pahabain yung pasensya natin sa mga anak nating may disability. Next, understanding. Third, educate. Kahit may kapansanan yan, yung mga bata may disabilities, they need education. Kahit di sila normal or may disability, kailangan at kailangan nila ng education. Kaya as a parents, kailangan mong ipasok yung anak mo sa school, sa lalo na sa mga school na may special program para sa mga estudyante na may disability. Next, connect, be open, communication, supportive, optimistic, keep things in perspective, and not knowledgeable. Next is Nick Vujicic. Kilala naman natin lahat si Nick Vujicic, di ba? Isa siyang famous motivational speakers. When Nicholas was born, it was found that he had an exceedingly rare disease called hocomelia. This disorder caused him to be known without his four limbs, yung wala siyang kamay at paa, also known as Trentra-Amelia syndrome. This major disability could not stop him from being one of the most famous motivational speakers. The power in his heart is evident when he says, "If you can't get a miracle, become one." Parang sa "if you can't get a miracle", kagaya na lang siya, pinanganak siyang wala, parang hindi siya nakakuha ng miracle, di ba? Kasi wala siyang kamay at paa. Pero sa sarili niya, ginawa niyang miracle yung sarili niya. Di ba? Parang yung weaknesses niya, ginamit niyang strength para maging isang famous motivational speakers. Kaya, kaya nasabi niya, if you can't get a miracle, become one. Next is Stephen Hawking. Renowned theoretical physicist Stephen Hawking was diagnosed with ELS, a form of motor neuron disease, shortly after he turned 21, although only given 2 years to live. Hawking went to become a celebrated physicist, author, lecturer, and professor. His life was the subject of the film The Theory of Everything. Si Stephen Hawking is hindi naging hadlang yung sakit niya na motor neuron disease. Parang naging inspiration niya pa to para maging isa siyang celebrated physicist, author, or lecturer and professor. Tapos parang ginawan din nila ng film yung buhay niya na pinamagatan ng The Theory of Everything noong 2014. John Nash. Another example of celebrity with a disability who broke the mold is John Nash, an American mathematician whose life marked by acute paranoid schizophrenia. Acute paranoid schizophrenia is a sakit na parang nagkakaroon ka ng delusional or nag-hallucinate ka. Ganun yung sakit na acute paranoid schizophrenia. It's known to us thanks to the film A Beautiful Mind. Aware of his illness, Nash fought against it and developed a successful academic career that, that earned him the Nobel Prize in Economics in 1994. Plus, a disability doesn't have to be a social barrier. Yes, hindi porket may disability ka na is hindi ka na makikipag-social sa ibang tao. Good etiquette begins with inclusion, not exclusion. We are all equal and we all deserve equal opportunities, di ba? We all human naman, di ba? We are all people, di ba? Kaya deserve natin ng equal opportunities kahit may disability tayo, di ba? Attacking people with disabilities is the lowest display of power I can think of by Morgan Freeman. Kahit sino naman siguro, di ba? Kahit ako naman, di ba? Pag may nakita kang binubuli na may disability, tapos yung nang bubuli is walang disability. Parang parang ang hina naman ng taong yun, di ba? Yung nambubuli. Kasi pinipili niya lang yung mahina na ibuli. Eh, yung binuli pa is may disability, di ba? Di sobrang parang, sobrang hina ng taong yun. Yun lang po. Thank you.